Right, I'm gonna let a few more people get in, and we finna go in. Let me get a pen, cause we going for the win. This ain't a sin. Them gender fluid is about to take it on the chin. Let's do it. Sadiq, speak to the people. Let me get warmed up. It's finna be a fight. I'm getting ready to take down the black gender fluidist. Let's go, Sadiq.
All right. What's up, people? Hope y'all enjoy this show.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be very informational. So keep your ears open and watch.
So how's the company doing?
Awesome.
You got any reports to tell the people?
I'm gonna be watching tomorrow, so you wanna come to BPM, you know what I'm saying? Get your car clean, follows all the detailing, you know what I'm saying? Get you right.
Don't ever say know what I'm saying in a business presentation. Sit your ugly self down. Tubby.
Oh.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Devon Johnson. I work for Sadiq Thomas for Flawless Auto Detailing. And just like you said, we wash your cars tomorrow, so come to BPM.
Come to BPM. These boys making money the legal way. All right. We have a very important subject tonight. Probably the most important I've ever done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just not go off and start preaching. I just want to give you facts. Because one thing about the enemies of the black family, they like to state their opinion, state it as if they're right, and state it as if they're facts, and try to make you think you're crazy for thinking the black man belongs with the black woman and not the black or the white child or member of the same gender, right? They like to make you think you're crazy, you're so outdated, you're so old-fashioned, you just, how can you say that the black man belongs with the black woman and the black woman belongs with the black man in black families, period? How can you say that? That sounds so crazy. That sound crazy to you, Tubby? Mm-hmm. That sound crazy? That the black man belongs with the black woman? No. Oh, okay. What they doing sounds crazy. Yep. Okay, all right. Tubby got a little lost for a second there. Been a hard day at school doing all that work. Okay, so I'm advocating as the first and practical step towards rebuilding the black community. Anybody who's talking about the movement, anybody who's talking about what black people need to do, anybody who's talking about the economic conditions, the social conditions, the schools, all of the issues that we have. Anybody who opens their mouth to talk about that ought to be a dedicated, hardcore black familyist. I know you might not have ever heard that word because I made it. What's a black familyist? Listen, I'm going to give you the rules of the black familyist later, but I'm just going to give you the definitions now. The black familyist is the black man or woman who is 100% dedicated to establishing, building, and maintaining black African-centered families. We adhere to the traditions, cultural norms, and ways of thinking of our ancestors who knew the masculine-feminine balance and that the black man belonged with the black woman. They didn't practice pedophilia. They didn't practice gender confusion. They didn't practice transgenderism. They didn't practice a lot of these confusions and blurring of the line and things that we are seeing now. So what's the black gender fluidist? The black gender fluidist is the black man or woman who has accepted all Eurocentric ideas on gender. They see gender roles that are rooted in the masculine-feminine balance as oppressive, patriarchal, outdated, and old-fashioned. They think that for me to say that if you were born a male, then you're a boy, and you ought to be with the black woman when you're old enough, or if you were born a girl, then you're a girl. They think this is evil, right? Like I'm just saying how can he say that? Damn it, how can I not? I'm all about the black family, right? but your actions have to reflect that you're all about the black family. Can't just be taught. You telling me you're all about the black family? Well, where's your black wife? Where's the black business that you're building to support that family? Where's your black children? Where's your black husband? This is not talk now. This is not talk. You can't talk this. Anybody who's saying they're about this community, anybody who's saying they want to see us elevate, you ought to start by building a family. Now, I'm going to get to the rules of black familyism later, but I just had to lay out what I'm talking about now. Now, let me give you some facts, because I saw a video of a rapper. A rapper. I guess it would be called a rapette or a raptress, because this was a gender-confused individual. And he was on The Breakfast Club. And his lyrics and his disposition, his posture, his whole aura was the concrete evidence of a full-scale circle that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and before her Neely Fuller predicted years and years ago. What do I mean? Neely Fuller was saying that the system of white supremacy is going to emasculate and effeminize the black male to the extent that he's going to be in dresses. His manhood is going to be so broken, he's going to be so emasculated that he's going to take on the traits and characteristics of a woman in order to try to shield himself from the blunt force of white supremacy. He said it was going to happen. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said they were going to force images upon us of our men in dresses, acting like women, behaving like women. They were going to cram this stuff down our throats until we'll openly accept it, welcome it, normalize it, laugh at it, and feel good about it. And did you see Tyler Perry? Right? And then they got this other internet freak out. What's the one that Plies had in the video?
Oh, that boy that be wearing that blue lipstick.
Yeah.
The Instagram one.
With the blue hair. I forget his name. Kia?
I think so.
Something like that. Weirdos, right? To the point now where every aspiring comedian that's on social media just says, I'll put on a dress, act feminine, and bam, I get my big break. I just become an emasculated little bitch and I get my little break. Hate to use that word, but it's just all facts. That's how I get my break. I don't be threatening. I be docile. I be emasculated. They will accept me in. Right? Okay, now I'll give you another example. I ain't gonna get into that yet. Let's go with the facts. Now, number one, is there an attack on black masculinity? Is there an attack on the heterosexual black male? Is there an attack on the black family? Is there an attack on the black woman that would stand up and say, no, I want to be a wife to a black man. That's all I'm accepting. I don't accept. Yes, you're under attack too. But let me start by proving this purposeful efforts, conspiracy, schemes to effeminize the black male. Because when I posted the video of the rapper, listen to me now, I was proud of our people, because when I posted the video of the rapper, the thing got over 100,000 some views and about some thousands of comments and thousands of shares. And for the first night that it was up, there was unanimous condemnation. Nobody was rolling with the little weirdo from Love and Hip Hop. Every black person was saying sick, unacceptable. What did I just hear? Wow, I can't believe this. Terrible. Hell no. And then as the video spread, I began to see some supporters, some defenders trickle in. Wasn't a lot of them, but they came. Right? And I'm sad to say, I hate to say it, in my post I said I didn't think it could get worse than Young Thug, but this is even worse. And the main defenders, almost the only defenders, were black women. The group that's going to be hurt the most by this. Because if that continues to spread and the black man turns his back on the black woman to go be with other men, right, and wants to compete with the black woman, who's hurt the worst? Who's going to be hurt?
Us.
Well, all of us, I know. Yeah, all of us, I know. But the woman is going to be hurt the worst. Okay? If you have no men. So let me give you some evidence that this is real. Throughout our history, if you look at the eugenics movement, there's always these wealthy foundations, the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation. Okay, let me get Instagram back up. We had an interruption. Shoot. Oh, it went back the wrong way. Let me fix it. 1 second. That's it. I hope I don't have to restart it. Can y'all see what's going on? What kind of black? Now we pro-black, but dang, I ain't never been this black. All right, I might have to restart it. Y'all come on back in. I'm gonna go out and come back in. 1 second. Oh, shoot, we were going good.
How much you had?
Broke my momentum. Man, okay, let's get this going. Sorry about that, guys. Had a glitch on Instagram. Okay, wait a second. Now I took a picture. Okay. Okay. I was talking about these different foundations that they have that were intricate in funding the eugenics movement. So let me get the Instagram back up and we'll take it from there. All right. Switch seats with Sadiq Tuck.
All right.
You ready, Sadiq?
Yeah.
So, these foundations, they conduct academic research. They're like think tanks. They look at trends in society. They target problems and they put forth remedies, and they're very connected to government. It's like a merger between the corporations and the government, and they've come out with their memorandums and their studies, and these things almost always become public policy because they well funded. And I'm going to tell you about the results of one of those inquiries. And their aim has always been population control. But I hate to use that word population control because it's not just population control. It's control of undesired populations. What do you mean by that? The black people. Right? They ain't really trying to target everybody with Planned Parenthood. Their main aim is the blacks. So throughout history and today, and it's even worse now, Bill Gates is a big advocate of this. They are afraid of too many blacks, Africans, being in America and being on the planet, period. They put out these studies saying, it's overpopulated. It's going to cause food shortages. We got to decrease the population, but they never talking about decreasing their population. Right? So one of these studies that was put out became known as the Jaffe Memorandum. I think the guy's name was Jaffe Burleson or something like that. And in this document, from these higher up, powerful, well-connected foundations, he openly, these are the people who say that there's no agenda, there's no gay agenda, there's no agenda to feminize the black man. That's a conspiracy. That's not real. They're just living their life. Let them live, right? In this memo, he openly advocates encouraging and increasing homosexuality amongst us as a measure to control our populations. Because guess what you can't do with two men or two women together? Guess what you can't do?
Reproduce.
You can't reproduce. Okay? So, this is direct fact. All you gotta do is go Google the Jaffe Memorandum. I had Sadiq print out a copy of it just so y'all can see it. Go Google it. Nice bullet points. What are the tactics we're going to use? The Jaffe Memorandum. Go Google it. Jafee. All facts now. I'm just giving you facts. Now, as I continued to research and come across more articles and readings, and this isn't even the most powerful one, but they say, Vern, they're not an agenda to use homosexuality and population control. It's open now. Nobody should be telling me that they're not using homosexuality as a part of population control. It's open. The homosexuals are telling you. We ought to be proud to be homosexuals because we're helping with population control. The more of us there are, we'll stabilize and keep the population low. It's out in the open. You could go. This was written by a guy named Roger Denson. You can go Google it. It says homosexuality as population control. Why gays and lesbians are essential to the balance of nature. Okay. No agenda though. Why gays and lesbians are essential to the balance of nature, but it ain't no agenda though. It ain't no population control agenda. It ain't no feminization agenda. Ain't no homosexual agenda. It doesn't exist. But they telling you out in the open that it does. That means any Negro who tells you it doesn't exist is either ignorant or a part of it. They want to defend it. Okay? All facts. I posted these clips on my Instagram in a little slide. Y'all can go flip right through them and you can Google them yourself. No opinion. They said it. Okay, it only gets worse from here. I came across this information studying some of the work of Irritated Genie. And this shocked me. I'm going to read you a few clips, a few passages, quotes from what they call the Homosexual Manifesto, written years ago by Michael Swift, a radical ardent supporter of the LGBTQYPC movement. Listen to what he said he's going to do. They're going to do. Now, I didn't write this. They wrote it. There's no agenda. Well, then why is there a manifesto? Right? Okay. We shall sodomize your sons. Damn, I think that's pretty open. That's pretty direct quote. Much interpretation need to be done there. We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity. Oh, so they go after our boys and they go after our masculinity. Oh, Vern, you're making this up. No, just go Google the Homosexual Manifesto. Real and legitimate, written by a staunch member of their movement. I didn't write it. I couldn't even think of this. I wouldn't never want to think of this shit. Okay. Of your feeble masculinity, of your shallow dreams and vulgar lies. Listen to what they say they're going to do now. Because they say they want power. They don't want to be oppressed. They don't want to be suppressed. They want to be in power. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your dormitories, in your gymnasiums, in your locker rooms, in your sports arenas, in your seminaries, in your youth groups, in your movie theater, bathrooms, in your army bunkhouses, in your truck stops, in your male clubs, in your houses of Congress, wherever men are with men together. Your sons shall become our minions and do our bidding. They will be recast in our image. They will come to crave and adore us. You don't see this coming true in hip hop? You don't see this coming true with Young Thug? What's that little wimp name with the colorful hair? Lil Uzi. You don't see this? He said it, not me. All facts now. Okay. Women, you cry for freedom. You say you are no longer satisfied with men. They make you unhappy. We connoisseurs of the masculine face, the masculine physique, shall take your men from you then. I told you they want to compete with women. So they're going to take the women's men from them. Do I need to be more direct? Do I need to be more direct? We will stab you. Hey, they say if you dare try cry faggot. very queer at us, you'd call me that? Listen what they're going to do. We'll stab you in your cowardly hearts and defile your dead, puny bodies. So now they want to have sex with corpses. Oh, God, man. Okay, I'm going to just read you one more of their quotes. I can't read all this on the air. Hell, this is disgusting. He says, "We shall write poems of the love between men." Too late. Plato and Socrates and all them Greeks already been doing that. "We shall stage plays in which men openly caress men." Well, there you go, Tyler Perry. Put on your dress. Get it on. "We shall make films about the love between heroic men which will replace the cheap, superficial, sentimental, incipient, juvenile, heterosexual infatuations." So they say they're going to write gay love movies to replace the straight love movies. Brokeback Mountain. Is it all coming true? Anybody who said this is not real? He wrote it. They put it out. Not me. But it ain't no homosexual movement, though. Okay. I put up the quote. Alicia Garza. Let's go to my Instagram now. Not my most recent post, but the one right before it when we get off. She said, this is the founder of Black Lives Matter. Beautiful black woman. I don't know what happened to her. Well, you know, things happen. But she said, and this is her quote, the founder of Black Lives Matters. She said, "Our goal is to queer the movement." I mean, I got a bachelor's degree and a law degree. I read quite a few books. I don't think you need to be a genius to understand that. If somebody comes up to you and says, "I'm going to queer the movement," I'm going to be forced to think they want to have it overtaken by queers. Am I off the wall here? Why they want to make like we don't know what we're talking about? Huh? Just go to my Instagram because it's in a interview that she did with this European Annie something, and so I just, but it's like a long 30-minute interview. But I just took that part. But you can go to YouTube and watch the whole interview. She's talking about how they want to aspire to have more Bayard Rustins. Bayard Rustin was the civil rights weirdo who was a mentor to Dr. Martin. And Bayard Rustin was the one who got caught in the car out in the park having sex with two white men. And then he went and adopted this young white man as his lover. But he did legal adoption because there was no gay marriage then. So he did legal adoption to make this his young gay white lover. Right? He was so notorious for his sexual deviance with as many young white males as he can get that Martin Luther King has been quoted as they were at the March on Washington saying, "Everything is going good. It'll be all right as long as we can keep Bayard away from the white boys."
That boy's still alive?
No, he's not. Okay? All right? So did I get you with that one? Okay, maybe not. Let me move on to another. These are direct facts. Black Lives Matter. We're here to queer the movement. You ready? All right, let's go even further now. The real agenda to effeminize our boys. I got the direct quotes here. Now, back in the 60s and 70s, when the blacks were a little more masculine and prone to take to the streets in rebellions, strong rebellions, destructive rebellions, the whites became very afraid, right? Because after Dr. Martin died, you had revolts all across the country. Black men and Black Panthers and Black power everywhere, right? And I'll just read you the direct quotes. Now, this is from a psychiatrist. His name is Dr. Peter Breggin. He is white. He is called the conscience of psychiatry. He's a whistleblower. Whenever he sees unethical things going on in their realm with the medications and the therapies and the different things that they're advocating, he'll call it out. So let's just take a few quotes from him about what happened in America at that time concerning black masculinity and black masculine, strong, aggressive males, since there's no agenda against them. Let's hear what the white man said himself. All right? In the wake of the black urban uprisings of the late 1960s, America became preoccupied with the threatening, there we go. America became preoccupied, that means they focused on it. They focused with the threatening figure of the young black male. He's strong, he's aggressive, he's tough, he's violent, we can't control him, he's unstoppable, right? All these things that go back to masculinity. All these things that tie back into masculinity. Now, they wasn't concerned about the D. Ray McKessons of the world. Do you see? They wasn't concerned about the Bayard Rustins. They're just fine. As well as with the overall danger of rebellion and chaos. The ones that might rebel. Like D. Seals, who slapped D. Ray to the ground. All right? They might rebel. It says, it might rebel in social chaos, led by the NIMH, that's the National Institute of Mental Health, and the Justice Department. The federal government began to develop an overall program for the biomedical control of violence that resembled the one proposed by Goodwin, that's another psychiatrist, and the National Academy of Sciences. Okay, they start to propose and develop biomedical controls for violence. What are biomedical controls? Medications that take away the masculinity, the aggression, the strength that target the testosterone of our boys, right? And if you take away a boy's testosterone, if you give him drugs that decrease, cut, and minimize his testosterone, he's gonna become more docile, he's gonna become weaker, he's gonna become less aggressive, he's gonna become more feminine. I'm giving you facts now. I'll give you the link to the article by Dr. Bragan, noted psychiatrist. Okay? It included, these are the things that they came up with: biological and genetic theories of violence, attempts at early identification and prediction, claims for research breakthroughs in diagnosis and treatment, and plans for behavior modification programs and controlled facilities. So they'll start looking at your boys at school. Oh, he's rough. He's aggressive. He's a leader. He's strong. We'll fix him. We'll fix him, okay? All right, let's go further. 3 Harvard professors, neurosurgeons, two neurosurgeons and a psychiatrist were leaders in this 70s violence initiative. They made the startling proposal that psychosurgery, brain mutilation by means of electrodes, be used to control not only urban rioters. Listen to me now. These are the people who they want to alter. Not only the rioters, but some black leaders who allegedly suffered brain damage, right? And again, they're talking about the black leaders that are masculine, aggressive, strong, straightforward. Your Malcolms, your Dr. Khaled's. Sure, they had no problem with Bayard Rustin and James Baldwin. They good. But these loud, strong, forceful Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Fred Hampton types, they must be brain damaged. That's what they were saying. So we got to develop drugs and techniques to tamper that down. Again, direct attack on black masculinity. Okay? I ain't going to read you all the quotes, but I'll just give you one more. Let's see, which one would be the most powerful here? I got a whole bunch, but I ain't going to read them all. All right. I'll just read this last one here. A storm of controversy has surrounded recent disclosures that the U.S. government is planning a massive program of psychiatric intervention into the inner cities, so you know that means they're coming after us, aimed at identifying and treating young children with presumed genetic and biomedical predispositions for violence. The program, called the Violence Initiative, was first described, It is scheduled to become the #1 funding priority of the federal mental health establishment. Okay? So, they're looking at our boys. They seeing which ones are strong, which ones are aggressive, which ones are leaders, which ones are fighters, which ones might, I don't know, organize their people and stand up against oppression. And they're saying, we're going to develop drugs that will take all of that aggression, testosterone, hostility, power, Marcus Garvey, Robert F. Williams. We're going to take that out of the young boys early so they'll all grow up to become Bayard Rustins. Does this make sense? Because we can deal with Bayard Rustin, just give him some white boys to have sex with, and he'll be out of your hair. Right? He won't be demanding land, independence, economic. He won't be demanding that. All right. So that's Dr. Bregan. All you got to do is Google Dr. Peter Bregan. And okay, maybe you're too lazy to Google. Just inbox me. I'll send you the link. Dr. Peter Bregan, the First and Second Violence Initiatives. Open planning, open strategizing by those in the medical establishment, the political establishment, to use drugs to attack the masculine aspects of our boys in the inner city. Is this not enough proof? There's no agenda. Well, what about this? This sounds like an agenda to me. All right. If you want the article, here's the article. I printed off a copy just so I can show you. But you can go get your own copy. That's no big deal. All right, let's go to the next point. We got the violence initiatives out of the way. Now, let me ask you this. Did you print the other article? Let me see.
Thank you.
No, there was one that you missed. But that's okay. Listen. This was from a book and lectures by Dr. Wesley Muhammad. There's documented evidence. Is this it? No, there's documented evidence that our government since the, let me see. No, that's not it. Our government and our high institutions of academia have been experimenting and practicing what they call sexual inversion. What does that mean? They have studied the fetus. They have studied child development. They've studied human sexuality. And they found out that by simple chemical manipulation, targeting testosterone levels or estrogen levels or chemicals in the brain, by simple manipulation, you can invert a person's gender. What does that mean? You can change them from identifying with one sex to identifying as a whole new gender, right? And I'll send you the links on this. I'm talking about open academic studies. I believe I posted the article on my Instagram. I know I have it. I was just reading it over today. Peter Bregan, that's the first doctor I was talking about. They were doing experiments as early as the 50s on how to manipulate gender in humans. And the article says that it's simple now. They can take, through chemical manipulation, a male and turn him into a female or a female into a male. And it all came out more recently in this controversy with the black scientist Tyrone Hayes, who was studying the impact of atrazine, which is the #1 component in the major insecticides that our farmers use on our crops. And he found they had Tyrone Hayes studying the sexual impact of atrazine on frogs, fish, I believe rabbits, all types of different animals, and then the impact that it has on humans, right? And it was found out that with the smaller animals, it could turn a male frog into a female frog so completely that now female frog can mate with other males, right? And then in the doses that were getting into the humans, it found out that it was already cutting their testosterone, right? Atrazine. So just Google atrazine, ATRAZINE, and scientist Tyrone Hayes. I'm giving you all facts, but this, and I believe I posted the article. from the academic studies that they were doing for this for decades, but they've been studying this. If there's no intention to use this information, if there's no agenda, why the hell are you studying gender inversion? Who the hell would want to do such a thing? Well, I guess if you got some dumbass parents talking about, oh, I don't feel like having a boy, I want to have a girl. Here, he's a girl. Take your stupid ass out of my face. Okay, let's keep it moving. There's no agenda. Well, I think we have all heard about Dave Chappelle when he blew the whistle. Before they shut him down, he blew the whistle. He came out and said it. Dave Chappelle said he was going back, he was doing a movie. He was on set with Martin Lawrence. He went back to his dressing room to change, and he thought he was in the wrong dressing room. Now, this is on Oprah Winfrey. This is right out in the open. But people still saying there's no agenda, right? He said, I went in my dressing room, and I thought I was in the wrong dressing room because there were dresses. And I don't wear those. Okay? Okay? All right? He said that the directors, producers came in and pressured him like hell to wear the dress, and he didn't want to do it. Because he had been wondering, why does it seem like all successful black actors and comedians that are males, they make them wear dresses? He said, this is something I was wondering. So he said, they pressured me, and I told them no, and I told them no. He said, I don't know why they wanted to get me in that dress. And finally they gave up when he just wouldn't break and said, okay, let's move on with the movie. But they wanted him in the dress. They wanted the black man in the dress. You tell me why if there's no agenda. He said it. Words out of his own mouth. Just Google Dave Chappelle on Oprah Winfrey. I didn't make this up. I'm giving you all facts. All facts, okay? Now, the last two things I want to talk about on this front. Number one, I don't really want to get into buck breaking, but Europeans, once they got us over here in the West into slavery in the Caribbean and even in North America, they had a strategy of taking the strongest, toughest black males out, tying them down in front of their families and sodomizing them, raping them, to break their masculinity. See, these are historic attacks on black masculinity. Professor Smalls talked about this. Even in the new documentary, 1804, they talk about this buck breaking, where the white male feels a need to sexually assault the black male to break his manhood and effeminize him, so that the white male feels like the biggest man walking around the plantation, and he knows that the respect and self-esteem and masculinity of the black male is broken. Now, this is historical fact. Okay? But there's no agenda. No agenda, no agenda, no agenda. All right. Now, let's talk about this. Just a few weeks ago, the singer Genuine, or whatever the hell his name is, he said that he refused to kiss this white transsexual on TV. He said, I'm not kissing a tranny and I wouldn't date a tranny. The public came after him as if he had said something about Martin Luther King. Right? Why does this black male get ridiculed, castrated, marginalized, and attacked just for saying that he doesn't want to kiss or date a white transsexual or any transsexual? But there's no agenda. Then I ought to be free to say that. You ought to be free to say that. I don't want to kiss anything but a black woman. What does that consist of? She was born a black female. She grew into being a black woman. That's all I want to kiss. And since I'm married, only my black woman. Why I gotta kiss trannies? I don't think you should have to kiss trannies. Okay? Now, I'm gonna let y'all in on something now that irritated Gina and Tariq talked about this, and it shocked me. There's a guy named Ta-Nehisi Coates who is either a producer or a director or plays some prominent role in this Black Panther film. And he made it his business to insert a homosexual under theme in the movie by getting two of the female guards. I guess the Black Panther has a female battalion that guards him. He wanted to put a lesbian under theme in there as a part of the movie, and he was told no. The white power said no, not yet, right? Well, since this, just Google it. Articles have been written criticizing the movie because it missed the opportunity to have LGBTQ representation. All right? Black people writing this. Well, this movie didn't include any LGBTQ undertone, so it's a failure. What the hell? When did every black thing have to become an LGBTQ thing? Huh? You don't, like Jimmy said, they don't do that with white movies. I don't like the Terminator. There were no LGBTQs in the movie. There should have been at least 3 transgenders and a, what? How the hell that even fit the storyline? If I'm not mistaken, it's about Africa. Which brings me to my next point. All right? Now we go into the book now. Everything I'm saying here is I'm just citing. You can go read it yourself. Number 1. Oh, let's start with number 1 because this is enormous. This is enormous. This is an enormous fallacy, falsehood, lie, deceitful conspiracy. This is the basic fundamental lie that the gender confusion movement has to tell us. To back us into a corner. And they say there's always been homosexuality, there's always been gays everywhere around the world, even in ancient Africa. They say that as if it's a fact. There's always been gays. So why are you hating? There's always been gay people. They're just coming out now. So you need to stop with all this agenda stuff. Really? But you haven't researched the damn thing. You just bought what a European told you. Because in Europe, there has always been gays. But not in ancient Africa. Now, you want to go to one of the foremost authorities on this? Sexuality in ancient Africa? I would cite Dr. Imlamu Baruti. I would go to this book, right? Most in-depth, thorough analysis I've seen, and I've went and read both sides. I specifically had my friend send me an article that supposedly proved that there was homosexuality in indigenous Africa before it was contaminated by Arabs and Europeans. I told him, send me that. Send me some evidence. I read an article citing all type of dumb shit. Clearly after contamination, under apartheid, under colonialism, under the yoke of the European. You're going to find homosexuality when he gets there. But I said, show me one true example of homosexuality in our culture, in our traditions, in our ways of life, in ancient Africa, unbothered. And the article couldn't show me one. They're going to make some stuff up soon. But we'll keep debunking it. You got to be a scholar to deal with these people. But let's just go to the book. Here's Dr. Baruti on whether homosexuality was universal. No matter how hard the Western Homosexual Scholarly Alliance has tried to make it so, homosexuality is not universal in either origin or evolution. Okay? Let's talk about studied, scholarly facts, not Black Lives Matter alternate facts. All right? Let me give you another quote on that, directly from the book. Now that's on page 32 of the book, Homosexuality and the Feminization of the African Male. Let's go from page 32. Let's move up to page 62. Page 62. I'm just going to give you a few of these now. On page 62 in this same book, now, Baruti has just gone through how entrenched homosexuality is in ancient Greece and Rome, and how even their gods, Zeus, Apollo, Hercules, how all their gods were homosexual, not gods, deities were homosexual rapists, pedophiles. Go study the story of Zeus and how he had a little boy lover that he raped. And he had all these different women. He just was a philanderer. This is on page 62. So after he goes through all this information, Baruti, he goes to a quote from Diop. Okay? Now I just went from Baruti to Diop. I'm giving you all power now. I'm giving you power. Sheikh Anta Diop. He says, we must also point out, as stated by Sheikh Anta Diop in the cultural unity of Black Africa, that this type of promiscuity, as well as the myths of Ganymedes, of Sodom and Gomorrah, are specifically Eurasian and have no equivalent in either the tradition, the mythology, of the literature of Africa. Oh, now the scientist, the multi-genius Sheikh Anta Diop, who went to the UN conference and beat 70 so-called Egyptologists with one sidekick on his side up against 70, outdid all of their asses and they couldn't even keep up with him. He said that all this filth, homosexuality, pedophilia, all these things that we find in Greece, Rome, ancient, and even before it in Europe, he says, have no equivalent in either the tradition. What happened? Okay, Instagram went out in a second. No equivalent in either the tradition, the mythology, or the literature of Africa. Okay, now this is on page 62. Just get the book. I'm giving you direct quotes. These are from scholars now, our scholars. So can we still say it's universal? Well, I just cited two heavyweights. Now you go cite me one. You go cite me one credible source that says it's universal, and I'll go read it. I guarantee you it won't hold up underwater. All right. Now I just told you that their deities were rapists. That's on page 62 as well, so I won't even go into that. Ours weren't. Okay. Here's some more information you need to know. Our village life, our social customs, our traditions were what they call life-centered and child-centered. I'll take you to quotes now. We valued the woman. We valued the children. Right? It was God, child, woman, man. It wasn't man on top of everything in Africa. That's not how we got down. Right? Because the gender fluidists try to say that Hotepers are anti-woman. Anybody who's African-centered and wants our traditional gender roles, we're patriarchal, we're anti-woman. No, the hell we not. You can't be African-centered and be anti-woman. Matter of fact, to be anti-woman, you got to be Eurocentric, Greek, and homosexual. That's what anti-woman. All right. Now, let's go to 73. The matriarchy, so badly misinterpreted by European scholars as overly aggressive and domineering, they're talking about when they observed our African ways of life, placed children first because they were life. So where we come from, children were life. They were placed first. In Europe, in ancient Europe, children were just seen when they were living in their harsh conditions in the caves and in the hills of Europe. Children were seen as a burden, another mouth to feed. They were just another problem, especially if it was a girl child. All right? They were life. Children returned ancestral spirit to the people's life. And without ancestral spirit, Africans were nothing. Children were primary because they completed the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Women came next because they were the source of this life. Their womb was sacred, not diseased. It was understood that without women, there would be no children, no family, no nation. We've been through this. How the hell we anti-woman? We've been through this. In America, if a woman is pregnant, that's considered an illness. Did you know it? When she goes to her doctor, look at the sheets that they fill out. As illness is going to say pregnancy. We didn't see the womb as diseased. Right? We valued the womb. That's why we put it on top of the ark. Can I just give you some facts? We were different. And they want us to become like them. All right? Now, let me give you some more proof about this. And this is all in the book. I'm going to summarize what you'll find on page 32, page 59, and page 50 of this book. In Europe, ancient Greece and ancient Rome, their rites of passage from a boy. Matter of fact, I'm going to just read it direct. I'm going to read it direct because I don't want anything to get lost and I don't do it complete service. I'm going to just read a few of these. It's going to be quick, I promise. I won't take too long. All right. Here goes Baruti. Before proceeding with defining homosexuality as a Western phenomenon, we must point out that homosexuality is not a pertinent or useful explanation for any relationship between members of the same sex in traditional African society. It is not a part of the experience of any initiates into any traditional African rites of passage activities, right? It's not a part of our rites of passage. It's not a part of our traditions. It's not a part of what we do. Now let's look at them. Okay, here we go. Homosexual warriors. This is on page 59 in the book. We're talking about Greece now. Rome, Greece, whatever you want to call it. Submission within homosexual rites of passage also served to create strong standing armies of men who were as dedicated to each other on the battlefield as they were in the bed. A deep personal and intimate loyalty to one's comrades in arms was assumed to make for better soldiers because a love, I don't call that love, for each other would make them fight harder to keep each other alive. Here we go. The ideal, this is in their world, the ideal male homosexual relationship glorified in Greek civilization involved one in which both partners were members of the same military organization. Theoretically, these male partners would fight even harder than other military men in a desire to protect their male lovers. No matter how you look at it, Greek soldiers were more married to each other than to their wives. Okay? It's not African. Shaka Zulu didn't say, hey man, you all go have sex and you'll be a stronger army. That's not how we got down. But y'all still don't want to believe that there's a difference. I'll give you one more from page 50. I'll get off this subject, but I just want to give you facts now. You can go read them for yourself. Now, according to Plutarch, it was the custom for a young boy between 12 and 16. The ideal boy was between the ages of 15 and 19, 12 and 16, 15 and 19, to pair with an honorable man of his own tribe. In this relation, the man was known as the wooer. You have to woo this boy during the courtship of the lover. After the relationship had been publicly recognized, this was public, this was their way of life, this is their traditions. Strabo, the geographer, states the account of such relationships in his description of Crete, writing that each young boy was the victim of veritable abduction by an older man. The abducted boy was introduced into a man's club by his abductor, and then the boy and the man left for a 2 months holiday to celebrate their union. When this honeymoon ended, the young man returned and was solemnly feted. I don't even know what feted means. Sounds like feces to me because it's sodomy. But anyways, I ain't gonna get into all that. These are their traditions. This is their culture. This wasn't hidden. This was public. Plato, Socrates, all their great so-called thinkers, they glorified and rubber stamped this. Just Google it. Right? And they despised their women. They despised their women. But I ain't going to get into all that. So, I think I've done enough. You know what? I'm going to do one quote later on. Matter of fact, I'll just do it now. On how they see their women, how we see ours, because the gender fluidists say that African-centered men are misogynist, anti-woman. We oppress our women. Is that true, Sadiq?
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
No, sir.
Do we hate our women?
No, sir.
Do we mistreat them?
No, sir.
Do we beat them?
No.
Do we cuss them out?
No, sir.
Do we bust them in the head?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, let's see how women in ancient Africa were treated. Okay, let's just get some facts here. In ancient Africa, as has been stated, I'm giving you direct quotes from the book, we do not know much about the common women of Kush, but based on the cosmogony, the example of the ruling women, and the respect for women's ability, we assume they had a place of primacy in that culture also. Okay? And this is what we know about women in ancient Africa. Women had power. Females passed down the legitimacy of kinship through their womb, prepared their sons for kingship, led battles, negotiated with rulers, conquered enemies, ruled the nation, and controlled large religious organizations. These are how the African women, this is how we view our women now. They're telling us we anti-woman though. We just misogynists. Unlike her counterpart in the ancient Near East in classical Greece and Rome, the woman in Africa occupied a position of equality and respect. She inherited as well as sold property, signed legal documents, and played a very important part in the daily life of the state. In addition to these powers, the natural line of inheritance was through the woman. In Africa, the woman after marriage retains all her individuality. Her name does not change. She continues to bear the name of her family. That sound bad? Sound like they was beating them women down? Maybe they was wrong about us. Or maybe they knew they were wrong. Okay? Well, let's talk about how the European women were treated. Do you think we should go there, Sadiq?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something about how the European women were treated. Trust me, this is going to be bad. All right, this is what let's talk about the Greeks. The Greek offensive against females, although more personal, was infinitely more severe and violent. This is the European. But even this assault on European womanhood was no match for what was to come. The way that European men systematically murdered, raped, and generally terrorized their women during the most famous Inquisition of all is beyond belief. Okay? Most authorities estimate that millions died during the Inquisition. 85% were women. More than 30,000 women were executed in the 15th century. Okay? The entire female populations in multiple villages were wiped out by inquisitors. 2 other villages were destroyed and completely eradicated from the map. Women were burned, okay? 1,000 women burned in one day. Okay? This is the way they treated their women during the Inquisition. Now you tell me when African men got together and said, let's go get together, rape our women, burn them to death, kill 30,000 of them. Want to come?
Nope.
If I had 30,000 women, I wouldn't be trying to burn them and rape them and kill them. I can tell you that. 30,000 black women. But we ain't going to get into that. Okay. Let's read one more here. Generations of genocide against European females had to have left its imprint deeply on their psyche. Imagine the level of psychosis that would have developed in mothers who had to rationalize preparing their sons to rape and ravage their daughters. Women became increasingly more devastated, if for no reason other than they had to continue to survive through and pass down to their daughters the experience of powerlessness. Their women had no power. Okay? Ours had power. No other people went through a phase. Now you listen to this. No other people went through a phase where they went about the business of raping and killing as many of their own women as possible. That sound like a good way for women to live? No. Okay. So when they say that we don't value our women, they're wrong. The ancient European in their traditions, they didn't. If you African-centered, you can't be African-centered without valuing the woman. Right? Can you? Can you be a BP and Tubby and cuss out women and disrespect them? No. Oh. How we treat our women, Tubby? Good. Do we protect them?
Yes.
Will we fight for them?
Yes.
Will we provide for them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So when they say that, they're just wrong. There's a difference between how women were treated and perceived in our ancient cultures, in our ancient societies, in our natural state, and how they did it. And all of our bad habits, all of the negative ways that we treat our women now, we learned it from them. Nah. It's going to say we're hoteppers. Well, now gender fluidists. Where did we learn it from? If any black man is mistreating his woman and beating her, we didn't have deadbeat dads in Africa. You ever heard of it? Yeah, you'll be deadbeat, all right. You'll be beat down and dead. Talk about mistreating a woman and abandoning your family. No, that's not how we get down. So, I just wanted to clarify that there is a clear, well-documented, proven attack on black masculinity, on heterosexual black males, on real black manhood. That's a fact. And I've given you sources to go verify what I'm talking about. Okay? There's no doubt left. Second, there's one way that the ancient African saw his wives, well, wife or wives, his family, the woman, and the whole structure of the family. And there's a separate way that the ancient Europeans saw his. We didn't have a history of pedophilia. We didn't have traditions and rites of passage that involved sodomy and homosexuality. That's not us. There's two differences. The way we saw the family was different. And that's why the black family is currently under attack. And that's why I started this by saying, anybody, time to go open the garage. Anybody who's claiming to be about the upliftment of our people, you need to be a black familyist in thought, belief, and practice in the real world. I need to see some family building going on, right? So I'm going to give you rules for the black familyist, man or woman. We got to get serious about building and maintaining our families because that's the basis of everything. You have more economic power in the family. Once we get families again, we can have communities. We can support businesses. We can have our schools. All the stuff you talk about, it starts with the family unit because that's when the black man and the black woman is working together on one page. That's when we have the ankh. That's when we have balance. That's when we are most powerful. Hell, I just told you that the women were leading armies and conquering people. Hell, we had male warriors and female warriors, male conquerors. We didn't have to fight each other till we start taking on feminine. I'm a feminist. I'm a transgender. The hell are you? You're a fluidist. I'm going to put all y'all in one boat, fluidist. You don't adhere to our African traditions. You're anti-African. You got a European mindset. You're fluid. You're wishy-washy. Get the hell out of here. You can't fight neither. None of them don't know how to fight. Very few of them. Some of them women in UFC that hey, they look like men and boy, they fight like men too. But anyway, let me give you the commandments of a black familyist. I'm just going to keep this simple. A black familyist is disciplined, focused, and has a long-term perspective and lifestyle. What does that mean? You're not overindulging in negative, harmful activities. You have goals, and you have a life structured around reaching those goals. Financial goals, educational goals, family goals, right? You're not just thinking about right now. You're thinking about where you want you and your family to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and all the next generations of black babies to come. Because we're going to keep reproducing and we're going to keep the black family going. Because, Sadiq, are you going to go with the gender fluidist movement? You going to wear a dress?
No.
Tubby, you want to wear a dress?
No.
I got $5 to wear a dress.
No.
30.
No.
300.
No.
Just wear the dress for 10 minutes.
No.
You sure?
Yes.
$400.
No.
1,000. Okay. We're going to keep coming. Okay? So the black families, they focused. They got goals. They thinking long term for themselves, for their families, and for their people. That's number one. Discipline, focus, long term. The black families has a deep love, admiration, and devotion to the opposite sex of their own race. What does that mean? As a black man, I have a deep admiration, love, and commitment to the black woman. Particularly my black woman, my wife, but not just her. Our women. I value the black woman. When you're talking about women and wives, that's the only thing that comes up in the conversation. And it ought to be the same way for the women. Saw a girl talking about she's thinking about going and get her man outside her race. I almost told her, get your crazy ass and go, but I didn't want to do that on her public page. Anyway, that's number two. The opposite sex of your own race. Now, I'm going to clear some stuff up for all of you right now. If you're going to tell me you're serious about building the black community, if you're going to tell me you're a black familyist only date with an eye toward marriage. Okay? What does that mean? We're not just going out to sleep around. We're not just dating to have a good time that night. We're not just dating because she got a big butt. We're dating to find our lifelong spouse. We got criteria. We have discipline. We being real about this. We're not just going back to old deadbeat ass situations and playing around wasting time. If it's time to move on, get the hell on. Okay? I'm looking at you for wife characteristics and you're looking at the man for husband characteristics. And if they don't have them or aren't developing them, they're too far off, then get the hell out. I'm talking about discipline, proper dating criteria. What are those when you're looking for a spouse? It's not the romance stuff that they teach us. Is this person somebody you can rely on? Is this person building economically? Is this person dedicated to the family? Does this person want to be a husband or a wife? Is this person going to get in and flake out when it gets rough? Is this somebody I can build with? Not does she have pretty eyes and big breasts? Yeah, physical attraction is a part of it, but what I'm talking about is the fundamental criteria we're looking for in a spouse. A nice body is nice. Right, Sadiq? Mm-hmm. But is that the only thing on your mind when you deciding who you're going to marry? Mm-mm. You'll have a fine-ass dummy. Okay. The black family cherishes day-to-day family life. What does that mean? It's when you and a family, man, it's the most beautiful thing ever. Having a wife and kids is the most magnificent thing ever. It's not always easy and glamorous, but the day-to-day, just having these babies around, tell me it ain't magnificent.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And we cherish that. We don't have to be flying all the way to Costa Rica or some dumbass Greek place to have fun. Just put me at home with my wife and my babies. Don't we have fun? Oh, okay. All right. Well, hell. That's the black families. You listen to me. I'm going to tell you something about the black families, and you take this to the bank and cash it. The black families, we don't break up our families based on our own individual desires and whims. Hell no. We don't put our own, well, I just could be more happy if I could just sleep around with 5 different women. Oh, I just could be so happy if my wife wasn't expecting me, giving me all these responsibilities. So I want a divorce. My wife thinks I should pay bills and help around the house, and I just can't. Shut the hell up. The family is more important than what the hell you want to do. The family is more important than you going to gamble, going to smoke blunts, going to the strip club, going to have side hoes. The family is more important to that, and we don't break our family up based on individual bull crap. Do we, Sadiq? Well, I want to be able to spend my money on Michael Jordan shoes and popping bottles at the club. I'll pop you with a bottle and send you back to your family. You hear me? The kids come first. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
The kids come first. You might not be able to buy what you want. You might not be able to go on your trip. You might not be able to have a new iPhone. The kids come first. And you think about that when you out doing whatever the hell dumb ideas you was about to have. I already told you, the kids come first. Stupid. Now, let me restart this Instagram because it's counting me down on my last minute. Give me 1 second. I'm almost through my list. I only got 4 more. Let me take this down and bring it back up. Okay, what's going on? I should have never hit save because I don't even know if I got room on this thing. Sadiq, what the hell do you think you're doing? Get out my camera.
I'm trying to see what you're doing. Got your camera turned to the wrong way.
I know what the heck I'm doing. I've been in this game before you was born, son.
And I'm on Instagram.
Yeah, I was on Instagram before you was born. When you was born?
2002.
Yep, I had Instagram back in 99.
I didn't even come out of it.
Oh, that's how them old folks be lying. I had to walk to school in the snow. You live in Florida. How you walk to school in the snow? Okay, I only got 4 more criteria and then we're going to be out of here. Let me let the Instagrammers get back in. Okay, here we go. Not only does the black family is, we don't break up our families and walk away based on our own individual whims. We don't do stupid, selfish little stuff that will lead to the breakup of our family. Well, what do you mean, Vern? We don't cheat. Now, if you're a black familyist, if you're a real black man married to a real black woman, you know anything that you're doing on the outskirts, around the edges, on the outside. If that black woman find out, it's something that will forgive you. But it's going to cause a major catastrophe in the family. It will probably destroy the family and tear it apart. If not, it's still going to cause a major catastrophe. Men, you can't be a black family that's out here with 8 side chicks. Can you, Sadiq?
No, sir.
You're a black pimp. And this goes for the women too, because I've been informed by women that the women are becoming just as bad as the men. I hate to believe that, but you can't be sitting here telling me you conscious, you woke, you all about the black community, and you can't even maintain your black family. Come on now. The things that you do outside will follow you home. Yeah, you're going to be all nervous every time she picks up your phone. Give me my phone. Let's get my phone. Oh, you might not be a black family. She might be a black pimp. And that's your opinion. So we're sending you over there with the fluidist. Are you a fluidist, Sadiq?
No.
All right. Black familyists, we do not accept Eurocentric gender definitions or definitions of the family. We do not believe that each party having a role grounded in our biology and what we're best at is oppressive. We do not believe it's offensive or hurtful to say if you were born a boy, you're a male. If you were born a girl, you're a female. We don't find that offensive. We do not find it offensive to say that there's correct roles and things that the woman have to do. There's correct roles and things that the man have to do, and they balance out. This is what we go by. This is what we believe, the UNC. We don't have to accept everything they come out with. For LGBT next week is going to be all the way out to Z, and you just got to accept it. Oh, hell no. That's a fluidist. So just add another letter. Transy. Add another letter. Chimpanzee. What the hell are you going to be next week? Trisexual transpanzite? No. No. We're going to stick with this. the black man and the black woman under a black God. Simple.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't say you have to hate nobody. I didn't say you attack nobody. I didn't say you beat down people and cuss them out. I just said we have a standard. We stick to that. And if you're promoting something else, defending something else, justifying something else, go down the street. I didn't say I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm just saying don't come to my house with it. Don't bring that to me. Because I'm going to say black man, black woman. What about the Mexican? I had somebody ask me, what about Hispanic? I said, that's not a race. Was there a black, Hispanic, or white? Just put it like this. If it's black, it go with black and don't come back. Stay with that. Okay?
Oh.
Wow.
Stay with that. All right? We are African and African-centered, like I just said. We stick with the traditions. First, you have to study. You can't know what your ancestors did and how you was able to have powerful women in the same house with powerful men and nobody be fighting. That sounds impossible with feminism and European because they view everything as antagonistic. But that wasn't us. Okay? And we lived the young life. I guess all the last three went into one thing. Okay? So, in closing, I'm warning you. Be aware and be prepared for the black gender fluidists. They come using terms like this. CIS. C-S-C-I-S. The cisgendered, heterosexual, hypermasculine, homophobic. They come using terms like that. Just confusion terms. They don't talk about black or what it really means to be black. They say this performative blackness. How the hell are you going to perform blackness? You just are or you aren't. Performative roles. I had to tell a gender fluidist one day, I'm in real life. I'm not performing. What are you talking about? Okay? They're bougie elitists. One thing about the fluidists, when they start coming, the people at the Root magazine, those are big fluidists. Watch them. Watch the Root magazine. They're an enemy to the black family. They'll come telling you that you can have 5 wives and 5 women in a village raising the kids with no men, and that's a family. You can have 4 dads in houses with kids, and that's a family. And if you say something, you're homophobic, hypermasculine, gender confused. Hey, this the greatest attack. You must be hiding your own sexuality. If you don't agree with homosexuality, then you must be a homosexual. What the hell? What the hell? That's like saying if you don't agree with black empowerment and independence, you must be black. What? Shut your dumb ass up. Oh, man. Okay. Gender confused and their gender merged. Now, when you talk to one of these fluidists, you might not know if you're talking to a man or a woman. And I'm not just talking about somebody that's totally transgender. I'm talking about the gender fluidist males are so, how can I put it, delicate. Like, dude, can you even fight? Like the gender fluidists, I posted them on my Instagram before I started the show. Talking about hoteppers. I'm going to tell you about hoteppers. They're ashy. What the hell? These gender fluidists, man. The men are emasculated with the tight jeans and the fingernails and little purses, man purses, and they wearing rompers. And then the women are masculine and strong as hell and will whoop your ass. Well, them feminists. So, watch them now. They don't go by our great scholars. They don't talk about Chancellor Williams. They don't talk about Dr. Claude. They don't go by Marcus Garvey. They talk about Bayard Rustin, James Baldwin, and Audre Lorde. Why? Because all those were gender-confused fluidists that would accept all this stuff that they want you to accept. They still have faith in the American system. They want to protest, put forth their grievances, get some reforms, and get a better position into this system. They still believe it'll make a way for them because, hey, they're gender fluid. They're no threat. They will have a better position. That's true. They are more accepted. That's true. But if you think they're ever going to let you get too far along or even, you're out of your damn fluidist mind. And they hate and shame real black men. That's one thing the gender fluid is going to do. If they see a powerful, heterosexual, alpha black male come in the room and he's only dedicated to his black woman and he tells all other black men that they have to do the same, they're going to attack him. He's a hotepper. He's homophobic. That's not true black empower. Shut the hell up. You can't tell me. You European. So watch out for the gender fluidists, because that's the opposite of a black feminist. And I posted one. If you want to see what they look like, go to my most recent Instagram post. When you hear the Root magazine, when you hear feminism, when you hear Black Lives Matter, when you hear Queer the Movement, when you hear cis, when you hear misogyn, when they start throwing these terms, hyper masculine. When they start throwing them terms around, you're dealing with a fluidist. And if you don't accept their way of life and everybody's way of life, then you will be ostracized. So go to my last few Instagram posts. You'll see the citations. Okay? And I gave you the book citations. I gave you the articles. I gave you the interviews. Go look for yourself. The attack is real. This person just asked me what's my viewpoint on biracial marriage. In Jesus' name, amen.